Book of Amos, chapter 9, and verse 10. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 21, and verse 1. Parable of the sword of the Lord Yahweh by Shemawashai. And the word of the Lord Yahweh by Shemawashai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face toward Jerusalem, Israel, and drop thy word toward the holy places, and prophesy against the land of Israel, and say to the land of Israel, Thus says the Lord Yahweh by Shemawashai, Behold, I am against thee, and will draw forth my sword out of its sheath, and will cut off from thee the righteous and the wicked, seeing then that I will cut off from thee the righteous and the wicked. Therefore shall my sword go forth out of its sheath against all flesh from the south to the north, that all flesh may know that I, the Lord Yahweh, by Shemawashai, have drawn forth my sword out of its sheath, and it shall not return any more. All praises to Yahweh, by Shemawashai, Bahara Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful of the nation of Israel that scattered abroad amongst the heathen. Some looking like the heathen. Beginning of the 144,000 preachers, teaching, and prophets. Shalom. Yeah. And we're in a time where, Esaw, Yahweh Shemawashai, sharpened his sword, which is Esaw. Okay? Which is Esaw. To take out 2/3 of Israel. Death by the sword. Death by Esaw. Sword, modern day sword is the gun, or any type of killing instrument, whatever Yahweh Shemawashai put on Esau's spirit to do. Alright, because remember, the sword of the Lord is Esaw. Alright? And he got a lot of weapons, man. He got a lot going on in his old wicked ass mind. Which really is what Yahweh Shemawashai wants. It's what the Lord wants. Remember, everyone that's gonna get judged, it's justified. So people are going to get judged according to their ways. All right? And it's a just judgment. Remember, Yahweh Shemawashai does not commit iniquity, man. And he's about to cut off the righteous and the wicked. What does that mean that we read in Ezekiel 21? The righteous of Israel are those of the circumcision, but you are wicked. Yeah, those of the circumcision, you Israelites that know the true Israelites, you wicked. The ones that are wicked, the ones who do not worship Yahweh Shemawashai in truth and sincerity, you lukewarm, you playing around with the doctrine. Okay? Hey, you gonna get it the worst. Hey, I pray Yahweh Shemawashai, have mercy on me. All of us in this truth, man. Alright, that's really going hard for Yahweh Shemawashai. You already know who the wicked is, 2/3. Okay? Those who don't even care to even know they're Israelites. Just rebellious. Alright? Yahweh Shemawashai said, hey, he's not going to put his sword up until he's finished. Which Esaw is the sword. Ezekiel 21:6. Sigh therefore, son of man, with the breaking of thy loins and with bitterness, sigh before thy eyes. And that's what we're doing. We constantly warning. We're constantly telling y'all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemawashai what's coming. Alright? And it shall be when they say unto thee, wherefore sighest thou, that thou shalt answer for the tidings, meaning for the news. Behold, it cometh, and every heart shall melt, and all hands shall be feeble, and every spirit shall faint, and all knees shall be weak as water. Behold, it cometh, and it shall be brought to pass, said the Lord God Yahweh Shemawashai. I mean, hey, this judgment is on its way. All right? And Esau is building up for it. The Lord got Esau preparing for it, man. Hey, that's why you saw all this stuff in the news about Israelites, which, they call us illegals. And then you got Southern Kingdom, so-called Negroes, Jamaicans, and Haitians. Alright? As a matter of fact, I know it's on my other phone. I don't even think I got it on this. That out. Let me see. Let me see real quick. Opera News. No, seriously, doubt I got it up here. Opera News. Yeah, but I'm gonna read it though. I could type it in. It says New York Post, woman beats two in racist attack at New York City Chinese takeout spot over food prices. Cop says. Matter of fact, let's look that up. Cause I want to show. I don't like doing that. I want y'all to see this woman's face. Look like blackface. Me. Cause I'm gonna read what was said, and it ain't. It's nothing like we will say. So they're painting us as the targets. Southern Kingdom as the targets again. Just sitting right here. New York Post. Woman beats two in racist attack on New York City Chinese takeout spot over food prices. And it's just letting you know, hey, also due to the food prices, hyperinflation, and famine, and hey, due to lack of bread and great tribulation, man, what people gonna do? But let's read it. It says a woman enraged over the prices at a Chinese takeout spot in Harlem attacked two people. At least one was a worker, and spewed racist, anti-Asian vitriol. Cops and sources said Monday. The suspect, see, that doesn't even look right. The suspect flew into a rage over the cost of cuisine inside the Empire Chinese restaurant on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. It's a long ass boulevard. The title, man, damn. It says near West 141st Street around 2:30 p.m. April the 6th, police and sources said. Quote, you Asians can't stay here, end quote, she snarled. According to law enforcement sources, quote, go back to your country, end quote. You see? So that's what they're saying she said. But a dark skinned woman, it looked like blackface to me. But that's just my opinion. But the point is, the narrative that's being painted here, man. Alright? They're back on the ages again. Because, hey, you got to always remember when they put this stuff in the news, they do it to get a reaction, man. Alright? They do it to get a reaction. Okay? Everything is to get a reaction out of the people, to build up this hatred, this animosity, hey, to further prophecy, man. Alright? Now, Ezekiel 21:8. Again, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sword slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. Right? And just like Yahweh Shema Shai is that sword to take down nations. Well, guess what? It's about to take down 2/3 of Israel. And he has given it to be furbished that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. NLT, verse 11. Yes, the sword is now being sharpened and polished. It is being prepared for the executioner. You see? That's Esau. Cry and howl, son of man, for it shall be upon my people. It shall be upon the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon the thigh, because it is a trial. And what if the sword contemneth even the rod? It shall be no more, saith the Lord God Yahweh Shema Shai. You see that? It says, thou therefore, son of man, prophesy and smite thy hands together, and let the sword be doubled the third time. The sword of the slain, it is the sword of the great men that are slain, which entereth into their private chambers. I have set the point of the sword against all their gates, that their heart may faint, and their ruins be multiplied. It is made bright, it is wrapped up for the slaughter. It says, go thee one way or other, either on the left hand or on the right, either on the right hand or on the left, whithersoever thou set thy face. You see that? So Yahweh Shema was shot and saying, hey, Esau gonna be everywhere, slaughtering folks, man. All right, just like you did in the past, you're gonna do it again. All right. It says, I will also smite my hands together, and I will cause my fury to rest. As the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah have said it. NLT, I too will clap my hands, and I will satisfy my fury. As the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah has spoken it. So this is gonna please the Lord, man. Hey, the Spirit's created for vengeance. All of that. All right. So Yahweh Shema Shah is rejoicing, man. It's gonna be rejoicing when 2/3 get taken out. Why? Because the wicked has been purged out of Israel. All right.
A local nonprofit taking a bold step today to increase the amount of affordable housing here in Oklahoma City and immigration laws.
And it's gonna be a fearful time. All right. So I'm gonna play this video.
And how can we live in?
I'm gonna play this video. I'm gonna play 8 minutes of 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Caroline Levitt issues warning to illegal immigrants. Trump will not tolerate this. Now listen to the first 4 minutes is a story. Okay? Then she gonna start talking. You see how they building everything up? Add that on top of what's already going on in America and what the narrative is. They coming. Alright? Hey, she said the Trump administration is not going to deal with illegal aliens, criminals, gangbangers, and wife beaters, man. Who they talking about? You so-called Negroes, Native American Indians, Hispanics, Latinos, Jamaicans, and Haitians.
Meanwhile, a twice-deported illegal alien convicted of killing 2 California teens in a DUI crash is set to be released after serving just a fraction of his sentence. Bill Malugin is live in Los Angeles with the exclusive. And you spoke, Bill, with the victims' families.
I did, John. As you can imagine, they are angry and they are frustrated. The illegal alien who was convicted of killing their kids was sentenced to serve 10 years in prison, but they were just notified by the state of California that they plan to release him early after only 3.5 years into that sentence. 3.5 years for 2 lives. It was November 2021. A fiery collision on an Orange County freeway. A young couple dead, and the driver who crashed into them, a twice-deported illegal alien from Mexico with multiple felonies, in custody for being drunk, high, and speeding at nearly 100 miles per hour.
I get a knock on the door, and there's 2 police officers.
The pain written all over the face of Pavel Osokin, as he recalls being told his son Nikolai and his 19-year-old girlfriend Anya Varfolomev, friends since they were kids, were gone.
They told me there was a horrible incident. My son and his girlfriend Anya basically were burned alive in their car.
She was my daughter. Anya's father, Anatoly, got a similar knock on the door that night.
He said Anya's name. I said, yes, it's my daughter. My wife came downstairs and she was screaming and crying. She said, no, 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 no.
In spring of 2022, a jury convicted Oscar Eduardo Ortega Anguiano on 2 counts of gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated. A judge sentenced him to 10 years. But on Easter Sunday, the family say they received this notice from the California Department of Corrections that on July 19th, he'll be getting out.
2 years for killing 2 kids. It's confusing to me. Why you give them 10 if they're going to spend 5 and then 3? Yeah, 2 young, productive American citizens killed for nothing. And that illegal immigrant who already has been deported twice is going to be released again?
In a statement, the Department of Corrections wouldn't confirm the release, but said in part, quote, incarcerated persons may earn credits for participating in rehabilitative programming, which may move their parole dates to an earlier date. Anya and Nikolai's families are now sending letters to the state, calling for Ortega Anguiano to serve his full sentence.
All those dreams were cut short just by one person who was not even supposed to be on that freeway. I will never forgive this guy. Never, ever. I hope he's going to stay in prison. I hope he's going to get old in prison. And I hope he's going to get kicked out from our country in the end.
And just a short time ago, the U.S. Attorney here in Los Angeles announced that once California releases this illegal alien, his office will prosecute him on federal charges for felony illegal reentry. U.S. Attorney Bill Esaw says, quote, my office has filed a felony immigration case against this defendant. He faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted. If the state of California will not seek the full measure of justice against this individual, the Justice Department will. So a little bit of a shot across the bow to the state of California there, John. We'll send it back to you.
You really get a sense of the parents' grief and outrage there. Bill Melugin for us. Bill, thank you. Sandra?
Yeah.
Joining us now is Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, and our hearts just break for these families that are affected by these horrific crimes. And now to think that that twice deported, now convicted criminal, someone who was here illegally, was able to kill 2 teenagers and will walk free. What does the White House say about that? Caroline, welcome.
Well, first of all, listening to the heartache from those 2 parents is truly heartbreaking, and our hearts are with them. And not only are we praying for them, but this administration is taking action. The Department of Homeland Security and ICE have already said that a detainer has been put on this individual if he is to be released, and he will immediately be transferred into ICE custody, we hope, if the state of California complies. And if not, the Department of Justice will be seeking a conviction against this man where he will spend time in federal prison for taking the lives of those 2 young Americans. So these results speak for themselves. President Trump is not going to tolerate illegal immigrant crime. And this individual case represents everything that is wrong with our immigration system. This individual was twice deported, but was allowed back into our country by the previous administration, took the lives of 2 young Americans, and is now barely facing any consequences. We will not tolerate it. We will not stand for that, and we will continue to enforce our nation's immigration laws and ensure that illegal immigrants who not only break our nation's immigration laws, but then further commit heinous acts of violence against law-abiding American citizens in our country are held to the fullest extent of the law.
But at the same time, we hear, Caroline, the grief from the parents and Bill Melugin's fine reporting not only there in California, but in Maryland as well, with Rachel Morin's mother, Patty Morin. You have Democrats at taxpayer expense going down to El Salvador to plead for people who the president says are MS-13 gang members who they describe as, quote, a Maryland man. And listen to what Patty Morin, Rachel Morin's mother, said about that. Listen to this here.
They would rather champion his cause, a criminal, than the victim. I think it is utterly despicable. As an American citizen, as a Maryland citizen, and as a mom, it tells me that I'm not important or valuable.
So you had Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland go down there, but then you also had members of Congress from Arizona who have nothing to do with this going down there to El Salvador. And you wonder, what is the Democrats' big play here? I was talking to Kayla McGee-White yesterday, and she thought that if the Democrats can make it almost impossible to deport an MS-13 gang member, how is this administration going to deport some non-criminal illegal aliens?
Well, the Democrat Party is full-blown crazy. Their motto should be illegal immigrant criminals first and American citizens last, because that's exactly what they are doing. You have seen Democrat elected officials who swear an oath to stand up for their constituents and law-abiding American citizens spending more time advocating for illegal alien criminals, gangbangers, and wife-beaters in the case of Abrego Garcia from Maryland. It's despicable. It is disgusting, and we are going to continue to call them out, and this administration is going to continue to fully enforce our nation's immigration laws. And how can we live in a sovereign country where the previous president, Joe Biden, was allowed to illegally traffic tens of millions of illegal aliens into our country, and the courts did nothing to stop him? But now you have President Trump, who was duly elected overwhelmingly by the American people to deport these illegal criminals from our communities, and you have rogue district court judges that are trying to stop him at every turn. It's unacceptable. And I will remind these district court judges and the Democrat Party that 90% of the American people support deporting illegal immigrants who commit crimes in the interior of our country. That's according to a latest Washington Post poll. So the president will not only win in the court of law, but he is winning in the court of public opinion. And he is delivering on his promise to secure our homeland.
All right, Caroline, we're watching markets. They seem to be...
That's it. You see what they doing. Shalom.